Avery, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Doing well. Avery, what is your philosophy when it comes to casting your jury vote?
I have to think about everything. I always say that, vote with your head, not your heart. Spicy's my number one in the game. If she's up there, I'm giving her my vote 100%. She had my back to the end. I'm going to have hers. But it's going to come down to, if Spicy's not up there, it's going to come down to who played the best game. I feel like Bailey's playing an underlooked game or an overlooked game, I should say. She's playing a really good social game. She's a great competitor, but Tola's playing an amazing game. He's a great social player. As much as he gets under my skin and annoys me, he is playing a really good game. I have to respect that as a super fan.
Can you give a rough ranking of the remaining players in order of who you'd be most likely to vote for to who you'd be least likely to vote for?
Of course. So I have to go Spicy as my number one. Then I have to go Bailey, Tola, Anthony, Lexus, and
Uh,
Todd. Todd's last. Sorry, Todd.
what's the reasoning for replacing each person where they are?
Yeah, so I gotta say, Bailey and Spicy, they were the two people that I trusted the most in the house. When it comes to Spicy, she had my back to the end. Like I said, I'd have hers. Bailey is playing an amazing game. She also had my back in that house, and I feel like her game's also being overlooked. But Tola, like I said, he's playing a really good social game. He's a great competitor. If we're talking strictly game, I think that he really deserves to win. But so does Bailey. Anthony's playing an amazing social game as well. Like his past season, he still hasn't touched the block. We're down to the final six, and he still hasn't touched the block. That means that he's playing an amazing social game. Everyone is scared to put him up on that block, and that just goes to show that he's a really good social player. And Lexus, she's the silent killer. She's playing a really good game, but I feel like she's hiding in the shadows a little bit too long. She needs to come out of the shadows soon, or she's just not going to have my vote. And then Todd, good old Toddy, he's the silly guy, the fun guy, the comic relief guy. He doesn't know the game. And I feel like the only reason he's made it this far is because he's asked other players how to play, what to do, how to vote, where to move, where to go. And I feel like he's not really playing for himself. The only way he's getting my vote is if he starts playing for himself.
What's the biggest thing each player could do to maybe change your mind about your vote for them?
That's a good question. I feel like the only thing, like let's say Anthony's up there. If he still doesn't have any wins under his belt, I feel like he needs to have a couple more really to sway me to get my vote. When it comes to Lexus and Todd, I feel like both of them need to come out of the shadows a little bit more. We're 55 days into the game, and Todd's just now saying that he's ready to play, he's ready to go. It's kind of just like, where was that energy, the first couple of weeks in? He needs to step it up a little bit. Same as Lexus. I feel like she needs to, get out there a little bit more. Like she said to me before I left the house, she's been, playing a quiet game. And I feel like you can play a quiet game, the viewers will see it, but the people in the house won't see it. She needs to step up and play a little bit of a louder game.
Who do you think is running the game?
Right now, it seems as though Anthony's running the game. He's a really good player. He's really good with his words. I feel like he is in everybody's ear, telling them what he thinks, and because he's such a smooth talker, it's really persuading people. I think that's what made me trust him so much. That's why I put Kayla up on the block. He was feeding me information as well as Lexus too, that I couldn't trust her, and because we were all in an alliance together, I put that trust in them. They put trust in me. I feel like I put a little bit too much trust in them, and that's what bit me in the butt later on. But I also feel like Tola's playing a really good game. Like I said, his social game is really good. He's the guy in the kitchen listening and hearing everything. But I think Anthony's running the show for sure.
Who do you think the jury is most likely to vote for, like as a whole?
As a whole, just based on those six players, I think it's going to be either Bailey or Tola. Like I said, they're both playing really good games. Anthony's also playing a good game, but I would like to see a couple more wins under his belt. I know that he's been throwing competitions. I've seen it firsthand. And I would just like to see a little bit more effort when it comes to competitions and stuff like that. But Tola or Bailey for sure. I think they're definitely getting the looks.
You had said that you had wanted to target the vets before they entered the game. What changed once they joined?
Yes, that was me. I have to say it was Spicy. She's my favorite player. I've always wanted the chance to work with her seeing her walk into the house, as soon as I saw that pink hair, I knew anything I said about getting rid of the vets was out the window. I wanted to play alongside her. I know that in her season, all she wanted was someone to work with her and someone that she could trust. I knew that I could be that person. So when she pulled me aside in the hot tub room, I tried to, pitch working together. She pitched it back to me, and I knew that we would be a good duo. And I think we did a pretty good job.
Who are you most upset at in the game?
I'm really upset with Anthony and Lexus. I was on the block. 3 hot chocolates were voting, and only one had my back. I showed them a lot of loyalty throughout my HOHs. Spicy showed them loyalty throughout her HOHs. That's 4 weeks that we carried them through the game. And it was just really disappointing to see that they didn't have my back in the end. I don't know if it was because they were scared of me. I was a good player. I had a good social game. I was a great competitor. And in the end, it was just disappointing to see that they really didn't have my back like I thought they did.
Arissa asked you about your decision to use your HOHs to betray your allies. Have you given any more thought to that? Like, is there a different move that you would have made in hindsight?
When it comes to my first HOH and getting mad out, I know it may seem on the show that we were in an alliance. I will say that, but the directors was only formed in order to protect hot chocolate. We needed a bigger alliance to ensure that hot chocolate was safe when we were having conversations. We needed to have, a Matt there, a Goose there, to make it look like if we were all chatting, that we weren't chatting game. So, when it comes to the directors, yes, me and Matt were close on a personal level. We did chat game here and there. But when it came to alliances, I had alliances that were a little more above the directors. I had the Havoc Hotties, Top of the Key, me, Bailey, and Spicy, and the Hot Chocolate. Those 3 alliances were my number ones, and I had to put them first before the directors. When it comes to Kayla, I do regret putting her up on that block. I wish I had one conversation with her before the ceremony. I feel like looking back, Anthony and Lexus might have caught wind that they were going to be pawns going up next to Tola, probably spooked them, and then they came to me with information. But I really wanted to show Bailey and Spicy that I could protect them, that I had their back in this game. And I want to say that I did that move for myself, because I was scared that Kayla was going to come after me. But looking back, I think I made that move for Bailey and Spicy just to prove to them that I was someone that they could trust in this game and that I could protect them.
What are your biggest regrets in the game?
I would say that was my biggest regret. Putting Kayla up on that block was something that I look back on and do regret. I try not to look back in the past. And, Kayla was the one that told everybody, look at your life as oh wells and not what ifs. I'm really trying to think of this as an oh well. Everything happens for a reason. But in the end, I do wish that I would have put Anthony or Lexus a pawn up next to Tola to make sure that Tola went home. But it didn't play out that way. That's all good. I'm still a part of this game. I still play a huge part in who wins, and that's all that matters. I'm still really proud of myself.
What are some of the biggest things, if any, that you've learned since coming out of the house?
I've learned that, trust is a big thing inside and outside of the house. I feel like I've learned a lot about the house guests and, how they live their lives, how they've been brought up. I've noticed that we all have very unique stories and stories that we can share, that we're going to share outside of this house. I'm excited to learn more about everybody. I'm excited for everybody to learn more about me, stuff that we can't talk about on TV. But yeah, I feel like I've learned that trust is everything in this world, inside and outside of the house. And if you can't trust someone, it's going to show. It's definitely going to show for sure.
If you had stayed in the game, who were your top 2 targets?
If I had stayed in the game, my top 2 targets would have been, I told Tola that I wouldn't put him up on the block if I won HOH, and that was 100% true. I wasn't going to target him. I needed him in the house as my shield. Just like I mentioned, he needed me in the house for a shield. I know he probably thought it was a bunch of BS, but it was true. I wasn't going to put him on the block. I kind of needed him in the house. So I would say my 2 targets would be Todd and Anthony. Anthony is a good player. He hasn't touched the block once yet. So it would have been interesting to see the 2 of them up there, and one of them brought themselves down. Good old Lexus would have up there, the silent killer.
Who would you have brought to the final 2 if given the chance?
If given the chance, I would have brought Spicy. I told her no matter what, final 2, doesn't matter who's next to us in the 3, I would have brought her all the way to the end she was someone that I really trusted in that house. And I know that I was someone that she really trusted. I was going to bring her to the end no matter what. I know loyalty over money sounds crazy, but I wanted to show her that I had her back all the way to the end. She had my back all the way to the end. And that's something that I'll cherish forever.
How are you hoping the rest of the game plays out?
Well, I would love to see Tola or Todd walk into the jury house after me so I could tell them I told you so. But I would love to see an all-girls final three. That's something that we were always fighting for, is to see some girls in the end. We haven't seen a girl winner in BBCAN in a couple of years, so it would be really nice to see a girl up there. But I gotta say, I've said it before, I'll say it again, Tola, he's playing a good game. I really want to see him in the jury house, but he is playing a good game. I do want to see the girls up there. I would love to see Bailey up there. I would love to see Spicy up there. Lexus, she's playing a very silent game. I want to see a little bit more. I want to see a little bit more of a louder play. But in the end, as long as the girls are up there, or Tola, a really good player, I'm happy either way.
All right. Thank you so much, Avery.
Thank you.
Tola, hello.
What's up? What's up?
I've got some questions.
Okay.
What is your philosophy when it comes to casting your jury vote?
I just want someone to tell me what moves they made, how loyal they were, and the betrayals that they performed, how it was executed.
Can you give a rough ranking of the remaining players in order of who you think you'd be most likely to vote for, to who'd be least likely to vote for, and maybe a reason why?
Most likely to vote for Anthony because he's played a loyal game, doesn't have blood in his hands, he hasn't been on the block. He's the guy who's been doing work behind the scenes. The least person I would vote for would be probably Victoria because she's played a sneaky game. And she's the type of person that will plant seeds just to get things going. And I don't know. I didn't really like her gameplay, so she would be my least for sure.
How about the people in the middle?
The people in the middle, second place would probably be Todd. I like Todd, but his gameplay is other people's gameplays, where he's being told what to do, which is pretty good because he's not initiating any moves himself, but he is executing them. Third would be Bailey, because, well, she's a nut. So she's a really persistent person. She's really good at her social game. She can get in people's ears, and that's what she's been doing with Todd. And fourth place would be Lexus because she's a sleeper. She doesn't really execute conversations. She sits there and listens and sort of just follow the plan on what's being told.
All right. What's the biggest thing each player could do to change your mind about like your vote for them?
Anthony's going to go ahead and try. He's got to tell me why he casted the vote to evict me, although he said he'll never do that. Todd, he's going to need to explain why he didn't want to rock with me and go to Final Four and use the veto on me. Bailey, I don't know, man. That girl's got to talk. She's got to say a lot of things. She's got to say why she didn't. I saved her last week. I need to know why she went against me this week. Lexus, she's a great girl. She's a great girl, and what she can tell me is basically what she did in the game, basically what her gameplay was. What was her final thoughts? What were her final moves to get her to the point where she is? And Victoria, I don't think I'd cast my vote for her. So,
who do you think the jury is most likely to vote for, like as a whole?
I think the jury is most likely, if it comes down to between the five of them, I think the jury will vote for Anthony.
You told Arissa that you think Bailey's going to win the game.
Yeah.
What scenario do you think she needs to get into to make that happen?
She needs to win the HOH. Okay. And when she wins the HOH, she's going to go ahead and put up Lexus and probably Todd. She's going to have to burn that bridge with Todd and maybe lie to him and say he's a pawn. And if he pulls himself off, I think she's going to put up Victoria. And then so on and so on.
Who are you most upset at in the game?
I'm most upset at Bailey. I saved her. Her game was in my hands for the whole week, and I told her to just trust me. But I'm going to need you to carry me into next week in the event that I get on the block. And she said she would, but clearly she didn't.
What are your biggest regrets in the game?
I don't really have any regrets. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't have let Bailey into. Maybe I shouldn't have let Bailey into my life as much as I did.
What are some of the biggest things you've learned, if anything, since leaving the house?
I've learned that you can't trust everybody, and you got to just stick true to yourself. I've learned that you're going to hear a lot of lies, a lot of truths, and I've learned that you really have to come to your senses and think to yourself and decipher what's true and what's not true. So I did learn a lot about just trusting into people. Just trusting someone is such a hard thing to do in this game, but to allowing you to do that, allowing yourself to do that is what I've learned, and I've learned to just trust more.
If you had stayed in the game, who were your top two targets?
If I stayed in the game, my top two targets would have been Victoria and Bailey. I would have taken them out, no problem. Just they are so lucky they turned on me. I would have went right after them. Game over.
Who would you have brought to the final two if given the chance?
I would have brought Anthony to the final two if I had the chance. That's what I would have done.
How are you hoping the rest of the game plays out?
I really hope that Anthony makes it to final two, and I hope he brings along someone. I hope he brings Lexus, really, and because we've been working together, and they've both been really amazing people and loyal. And I hope Bailey walks through those jury doors next week.
Who's the best player in the house?
In the house right now?
Mhm.
Wow. It's going to be between maybe Anthony, Todd, or Bailey. Like, really, I think it's one of those three. So I had to say it based on physical. Maybe Todd, maybe Anthony. I don't know. One of
Who,
those two.
who would you say is the worst player in the house right
Lexus.
now? All right. Well, that's what I got for you, Tola. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you for having me.